besties, and welcome back to the Paddocks. We are back at it yet again with an author interview. And today we are talking all things Podium Perfect by Lexi Richards. We have to give Lexi a massive shout out for letting us get our grubby little paws on this prior to its release date. So we're going to just jump right into it. So buckle up, grab a water, maybe some snacks as we peel out of the pits and talk all things Podium Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Lexi. We're so happy to have you on. We're so excited to talk Podium Perfect, F1, all of the things. We are romance girlies and F1 girlies to our core, so this is just like so much fun for us.
Thank you so much for having me. I am also a romance girly and an F1 girly, so this is my idea of a perfect Sunday morning here. Oh, you want me to come talk about books and cars? Yes, that's a yes for me.
That is music to our ears, honestly. So obviously this feels like it is a standard question, but we have to know what inspired Podium Perfect, especially because from what I can find, it's your debut novel. Correct me if I'm wrong though.
That's right. It's my first novel. So I have always been a voracious reader and love romance novels. I love like what you might call chick lit. Like I want to be entertained when I read. And I love a happy ending. And so I'd also always done writing in my career. So from various things I've worked for politicians, writing press releases and speeches and newsletters for constituents. And I worked for nonprofits. I worked for a tech company that worked with governments and police departments and universities and kind of translated the tech speak into government and public official speak. So I've done all types of different writing in my career, and that was kind of the common thread of every job I'd had. And I always loved writing and knew I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a book for as long as I can remember, but I was waiting for a great idea. And then I really got into Formula One because of my husband and my son. So I have a 9-year-old boy and a 5-year-old boy, and my 9-year-old got really into cars. We started watching Formula One, and so I was like, this is going to be a great backdrop for a romance novel. These guys are so charismatic. This sport is so exciting. There's so much to it. Why hasn't anyone written a romance novel with one of these guys as the male main character? And that was a few years ago. And so I kind of dipped my toe into writing the book. And then Formula One Romance is obviously having a moment, as you guys know from all the book clubs and interviews you've been doing. So I wasn't the only one who had that idea a few years ago, thinking this is great. This is great stuff for a book. Like there's a lot here. And so I finally had my idea. And then with encouragement from some friends and family who I pitched the idea of the book to, were like, absolutely, I would read that. And so I just sat down and started to write and see where it would take me.
I love that. I'm also a girl who writes for a lot of my job. I work in marketing, so I very much so get well, I love to write, so like why don't I write a book? Because I have also had that question a few times in my life where I've been like, should I?
You should. Yeah. If you have an idea or a thought, you can just go with it. It can be for you. It doesn't have to, you don't have to know where it's going when you start. But if you have an idea, I think it's worth it to sit down at your computer one day with a blank document open and say, all right, what do I have here? Do I have anything?
Who was your inspiration for your characters? Like Avery and Teddy are just so strong, and I'd love to know if there's any real life inspiration from them.
There are no specific people. For Avery, I had a really clear vision of what kind of female main character I wanted. As a reader, a romance reader, I thought that there was a lot of room in the market for ambitious, smart female main characters. Like my favorite books are the ones where the female main character has her life together. I don't like the hot mess main characters who are floundering in their life until they find a guy. I wanted someone who had a path, had an ambition, and the love story was almost unexpected for them, where they like really had their life
Mhm.
together. So that I knew about her going in. I also wanted her to be a little neurotic. I think it later drafts actually had to tone her down because I had some early readers tell me she was a little crazy.
Okay.
So I know that kind of answers, I think, a question you had later on. Uh, and then Teddy, I didn't want him to be modeled off any specific driver. So I tried really hard not to make him a specific driver inspired by any particular driver. But I definitely used stories and concepts and things from a lot of
Mhm.
different drivers to build his character. And then I also was like really conscious of not making him too grumpy. Like I think he's supposed to be kind of polished and distant, but I didn't want him to be like a jerk that she
Mhm.
has to change. Like he's a pretty good guy from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's
Yeah.
got the right amount of grumpy without coming across like a jerk or like he's mean.
Right.
I love me a
Like
grumpy
more.
sunshine.
Yeah.
So I'm like he's the right amount of grumpy.
Yeah, especially since
Good,
he's
good.
like
That's what I was going
approachable,
for.
but then like standoffish. It's like the best of both worlds. Yeah, kind of going into what we just mentioned, but Avery is kind of this strong, ambitious, and like laser focused type of person. But what do you think probably her biggest internal battle was throughout the story?
Yeah. So I think it's inner confidence. So she knows what she wants the whole book, and she knows what she's worth and what she brings to the table. But she has to kind of go through this experience, both in her professional life and her love life, to really feel like she could speak up for herself in a confident way, both in talking to Teddy and saying what she wants and what she needs out of a relationship and with her family, and really asserting herself there. So that for me was her big growth in her character arc. Was really getting that deep internal confidence. I also think at the beginning of the book, she's a little bit idealistic. Um, she's pretty green, right? She's right out of college. She has these big ideas, and she maybe doesn't realize how hard it is going to be to accomplish what she wants to do. And so I think
Mhm.
she has to have some reality checks along the way too.
Yeah. And then I guess kind of going off of that, what scene or moment do you think best captures Avery really like at her core?
Yeah, so there are a couple. I really like the Zoom call with her family scene where she's going in with
Yeah.
these big ideas and she knows what she wants, and she's just shocked that they don't all immediately jump on board.
Jump on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me that really represents where she is at the beginning of the book, where she's like, I'm going to go get her. I know exactly what I want to do. um, I'm going to get this family in shape, and I'm going to get this organization in shape, and we're going to go and do these big things and like make big changes in the world. And she has such good intentions, right? She really wants to do good. But she doesn't realize that's the first time she really realizes, I think, that it's going to be harder than she thought. And then kind of show the hospital scene with Teddy, where he's like, okay, yeah, we can be together on my terms. And she finally really realizes, no, that's actually not going to be enough for me. And I have, a sense of self-worth and what I need. And her professional journey, while during the time they've been apart, has made her realize, like, I do bring a lot to the table, and I've gained some maturity, and no, I really care for you, but that's not going to be enough for me.
Yeah. Is there, of all of the characters that are in Podium Perfect, is there a character that you feel most attached to? And is there also a character that was like the one that challenged you the most?
Yeah. So like I said, I think there were things about Avery that really challenged me as I was writing. Because it was hard to hit the right tone of like, I'm a little neurotic and I
Mhm.
overthink things. But I didn't want to make her too crazy. I wanted her to be like somewhat relatable and not a like crazy girls style. So it took me a little longer to get her right, a few drafts to get her
Mhm.
coming across the way I intended. Um, so she was probably the most challenging to write, but also the character I ended up the most attached to and really rooting for. And I guess that's great because she was the main character. I also really enjoyed writing her two friends, Stacy and
Mhm.
Caroline. Um, so at the in the first drafts of the book, Caroline was really like a small character. And then she was
Mhm.
just sort of like the assistant. And then as I got writing later drafts of the book and got to the end of the plot, she had kind of taken on this bigger role and had her own journey, which I hadn't expected going into the book. She was just kind of like a sidekick character. And then she became a lot more. Um, and Stacy was really fun to write too.
I think I loved Stacy because she gave side character action, but main character like energy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I know you kind of mentioned it, but you said that Avery was kind of a little harder to write than Teddy. Is
Yeah.
there a reason why?
Well, so the whole story is through Avery's eyes, right? So I really wanted it to be um get to give a feeling that she was relatable despite her immense privilege and her background. Um and so that really took a lot of thought, and I really wanted to make sure that every scene of the book and every chapter it was very clearly from her point of view. This is her story. And so that was just a deeper thought process and a deeper journey than Teddy, where you're really seeing him through her eyes. And I debated as I was writing, should I write some chapters from his point of view? And I ended up not doing that because I really wanted it to be her journey. Like it's her love story. Primarily, it's a love story, but it's also her professional journey and her relationship with her family.
Yeah, I get that. Now Teddy gives off kind of that golden boy aura for
Mm-hmm.
me when it comes to the book. Which driver, old or current, do you think he's probably most like?
Well, that's a great question. Who is he most like? Um,
It could also be a mix
okay.
Yeah.
if that feels more applicable.
Okay, a mix. So my first gut reaction is George Russell.
Okay. Interesting.
I could see
I can
that.
see
Um,
it. I
I
can
know
see
he's a
it.
little he's a little polarizing. Like not everybody likes him or thinks he's a golden
Yeah.
boy, but um, I think he has that very polished energy that Teddy gives.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
When I thought
I
of
can
golden
see
boy
it.
energy, I thought of George Russell as well, but I was like, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that fits.
and then I kind of drew on Alex Albon a little bit too, because he has
Ooh.
in his personal life has had some controversy with his family that um
Mhm.
if you just watch the races and haven't watched like or gone on a deep dive with any of the drivers, you probably wouldn't know. He keeps it really
Yeah.
professional, but he has also family drama that's happened in the
Yeah.
background. So that's
Yeah.
kind of
No.
where I got the idea for Teddy to have had some like um
Interesting.
controversial history.
No, I think it was a really nice touch. It added a really interesting like depth to his character that I feel like you don't normally always get in an F1 romance because you're just seeing these men who like are privileged. Like some of them own
Totally.
their
Even though
privilege, but like
she's the more privileged character because of how she grew up. Right. It's like, let's
yeah.
not forget he is world famous, making a ton of money, traveling the
Yeah.
globe. Yeah, he's by
Yeah.
no means hurting at this point in his life.
Exactly.
But when you remove the curtain behind the person, you see that
Yeah.
there's more to them than just this driver.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, I also
now
wanted
how
to
do
make
you
sure his I
go
was gonna
ahead?
say I want to make sure his stakes for fake dating were high enough, right? So if it was just
Yeah.
because he had women throwing him himself, you're like, is that really a good enough reason to fake date
Yeah.
someone for
Yeah.
an extended period of time? So I thought he needed something that he was hiding or some reason that he really needed to keep the press distracted.
Mm-hmm. Before like trying to keep them from seeing what's behind the screen.
Yeah, behind that
Just
golden
focusing on
boy
his
image.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think motorsports world amplifies probably their strengths and weaknesses as a couple?
Oh gosh. So, for Avery, I think there is this whole layer of trying to prove herself in a very masculine industry that she really grapples with. And so I think that adds a layer to their relationship where, on one hand, it's really beneficial for her to get the press and the attention of dating Teddy. On the other hand, she really struggles with in the book, okay, I'm accomplishing a short-term goal by getting a lot of attention for this fundraiser. But on the other hand, what am I doing for myself by aligning myself with another man in this industry? I've always been my father's daughter, and now I'm Teddy's girlfriend. So who am I? And so I think that's unique to um Formula One or any other like really masculine sport, and I liked exploring that a little bit in the book.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
It of all of the scenes in Podium Perfect, is there a scene that has readers sliding into your DMs or screaming into the void the most? Because I feel like there are a few options, and I want to know what's the most popular.
Okay, well, I want to hear yours too, but I'll uh from friends and family, I think they're surprised by the beach breakup scene. I don't think
Ooh,
everyone saw that coming.
yeah.
um
Hmm.
so that's one. um I think that, yeah, I'd say that's probably the most common scene where people are like, "Oh, I didn't really know that was coming."
I I literally had to think back to what scenes had me like screaming in my little notes on my Kindle, going, "Oh my god." But I think the biggest thing is there's a moment in I think it's chapter 34, where Teddy is just talking with Avery, and he's like, I literally had to pull it up because I'm like, I wrote the quote down, and he goes, "I'm not saying it to be nice, Avery. I mean it. You changed my life, even though it took a near death experience for me to realize it." And I was just like losing my ever loving mind over that, because it was just like, I'm like, that's the moment that makes you have your come to Jesus, where you're like, I actually really like this girl. Like, you knew you felt this way sooner, and that's the moment that makes you actually tell her. I wanted to throttle him. I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
mean,
why, but that one hit so
right?
different.
I mean, he's so together, he's so polished, but at the end of the day, he's like a dumb guy in his mid-20s, right? Like this is not a
Yeah.
fully grown man yet, okay? He's still very young.
Yeah.
Dumb man in his 20s. I
But
And
he's
you
can't.
could
still a boy. He's still a boy in some ways.
Yes.
you could see him kind
And
of navigating having to being in his 20s in like this big professional world, but then like grappling with like emotions and how to be in a relationship and how to be like an actual good guy in it.
yeah,
And it's like interesting.
yes. So that was where that was coming from. Is it like he's still just like a really young guy, and
Yeah.
he's figuring it out, and it because you do want to shake him and be like, come on, this is your person.
Yeah.
um and then, I mean, of course, like I couldn't write a Formula One romance without having a crash in it. And
yes,
so,
it's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Like it's really like you kind of almost have to in some ways just
Yeah,
to like up the stakes a tiny bit.
100%. Yeah.
It's a bit more realistic too, because I mean, I think every driver, other than maybe two this last season, ended up having a
Yeah.
crash
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or
Yeah,
form.
whether that's practice or quali or the actual race itself.
Something. And yeah, I tried to put myself in the shoes of if I was actually someone who was not just a fan, but knew these people in real life and they were my family or they were my loved ones or they were my significant other. Like,
Yeah.
what would that feel like to see them crash a car going that
Yeah.
fast? And it was,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, even just watching people crash as a fan is hard. I really couldn't
Yes.
imagine like having it be someone that like you personally are like that's my friend or that's my brother or that's
Yeah.
like my kid,
My
like
boyfriend or my kid or
especially as my
whatever.
kid, I don't know
Yeah.
how parents do it. I would
I know.
be
I get nervous enough
I'd be
watching
a
my kids play
wreck.
baseball, so I don't know how I would handle them being in Formula One.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
understand that.
no. I think that's I think that's really valid. How do you feel like motorsports and the lifestyle that surrounds motorsports influenced your writing themes and the characters in Podium Perfect?
So I, as a fan, love the racing, and I also follow like the wags and the fashion and the relationships because it's
Oh yeah,
fun.
it's fun.
Um,
It's
it's
so
fun,
fun.
and I find it really interesting, sort of, the range in the wags in terms of how many of them are leveraging their kind of instant fame by who they're dating. How many of them had a platform before that? Then there are some that just aren't interested in that piece of it at all and are doing their own thing and living their own lives, and they just happen to be with a Formula One driver. And I found that really interesting, and I really wanted to have a wag, calling Avery my wag here, who was not like a TikTok model influencer type. Like
Mm-hmm.
she has her own thing going on. She's not um really trying to be that type of wag. She's not like a
Yeah,
model who slid into his DMs. She has her
yeah,
own thing going on. So that was part of it. I also really liked um that the book got to go to different cities and different places. And
mm-hmm.
that is really unique to Formula One writing, I think. So even in other sports, you really have I'm thinking of ones hockey or
Mm-hmm.
football or other ones that I've read. And you get to pick what city you want that player's team to be from, and you get to write in that city. And sure, they travel, but it's not the same as Formula One, where you really get
Yeah,
to have each section of the book take place in a really different background. And I thought that
yeah,
was a really fun part of it to write. And when I first had the idea for the book, I kind of thought every chapter was going to be a different race or
city.
like a different
Mm,
city. And it ended up by the end of the book that there was a lot more at home, like in LA,
yeah,
um, than I had originally intended. But so that was also a really big inspiration for me, was the opportunity to write in a bunch of different cities around the globe.
did you do any extra travels so that when you were writing out these places, you had more frame of
Um,
reference?
Not specifically for the book, but like 2 summers ago, I went to Amsterdam with my family, and so
Oh,
then as soon as I got home, I wrote um
Yeah.
the scene in Amsterdam, where they're on the boat, and the boat was totally inspired by a boat ride I did with my family.
Aw,
Um,
I love that.
and I love that scene, so it ended up being like a great addition, but that was a later addition based on the fact that I was like, I love this city. I was just here. It's so fresh in my mind. I'm gonna go put my characters there.
no, I really like that. It not only is it so nice to see all the different places that they go to, but it's also really nice to see like in your case, you went to Amsterdam and that kind of helped base off some of the scenes and stuff like that. Especially since you're like, I've experienced it, I kind of know how it is, and it's more realistic than
Yes,
idealistic.
I definitely only wrote details about places that I've been. Even though like the book starts in, I think, in Bahrain, I've never been to Bahrain, so that's why those chapters are more about like the hotel, the racetrack,
Mm-hmm.
and less about the vibe of the
Yeah.
city or the country, because I didn't feel like I had a really good strong sense of it. But I've spent a lot of time in the UK. I've just been in Amsterdam. I vacationed in Mexico. I grew up in LA, so I felt very comfortable writing the details
Yeah.
of those places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you have a soundtrack or like a kind of vibe playlist that helps shape the mood for this book?
Yes. So I have a playlist on Spotify and it's linked in my Instagram if anyone wants to check it out. And so, yes, 100%. And I kind of would just add songs to this playlist as I was writing. And then when I had to go back and edit certain chapters out of order or whatever, a certain chapter needed some work, I would go listen to the song that I associated the most with Avery's headspace at that chapter to get myself back in the right mind frame to go work on it from her point of view.
Yeah.
So, I
What
mean,
did you?
it's what you'd expect. There's some Taylor Swift. There's, you know, Selena Gomez. There's like a lot of girl anthems on there because
I
again,
love
I'm
it.
trying to get into her headspace.
Taylor Swift goes perfect with like everything with her genre of music.
Yeah.
What did you think was the hardest scene type for you to write? Was it kind of like that first kiss, the first emotional like conflict, or the ending?
Oh, the ending. Um, I knew they would end up together. Knew that in romance, they say that to be considered a romance, you either have to have a happily ever after or a happy for now. So your
Mm-hmm.
characters have to end up in a good place, right? That's part of the fun of reading romance. And I really grappled with whether or not to have a proposal. And I didn't in the early drafts. And then I ended up changing the epilogue. So there was always an epilogue at Monaco. And I toyed with whether I just wanted to show them being happy and together and in a mature relationship, or whether I wanted there to be a proposal. And in the end, I just felt like the proposal was pretty satisfying way to end it versus them just walking into the sunset together. So I went with the proposal.
I thought the
I feel like
proposal
it
was
fit.
Yeah.
it was very well written, and it was a good like kind of closure to the book.
Yeah. Thanks.
Were there any challenges when you were going through the writing process? Like, I feel like there has to be, or there's kind of normally is for at least most authors. There's something, some sort of hiccup.
Sure. I mean, do you in terms of like writing the story itself or like the process or both?
Both?
Yeah. For like process, one of the hardest stages for me was when I'd written a whole first draft and I'd gotten to the end of the plot. And then I was like, yay, I did it. But also I still have so much more work to do on this book and story to get it where it needs to be. So that was sort of daunting. And I had to like take a minute. Like I took a few weeks to be like, I need to put this aside. I need to take a break from it because right now going back and starting over at the beginning sounds like completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that was challenging, like a mental hurdle to get over. In terms of the actual writing, one of the plot points I struggled with the most was I knew his secret was going to get leaked, and I knew it was going to get leaked somehow by Avery, but I had a few different ideas of how it could happen. And I actually wrote at least 2 different versions of how she leaked a secret. And then I worked with my editor and we agreed which one seemed more realistic for her personality. Because one of them, the other one was a little more intentional. And then we decided that she just wasn't
that
mean.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it had to be a complete accident.
Yeah. It being intentional would have felt very off-brand for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just like knowing, like understanding who she was as a character, I'm like that would have felt very out of place.
Yeah. So she, in the other version, she's like, it's after she goes to the bar with her brother, and she's a little drunk. And instead of someone overhearing it, she like writes an angry email to a reporter. That doesn't totally give it away, but is like, there's something you might want to
look into.
And I thought, like, even drunk and angry at him, she would never do that to him.
She wouldn't. No, that interesting. Oh, I like that. Well, that honestly, that kind of feeds in perfectly to my next question, which is from first draft to the arc that we got of Podium Perfect. How many changes, if any, happened due to editing and the publishers that you were working with?
Yeah.
Are there any scenes that you wished had stayed in?
No. So I did a lot more adding than deleting as I went.
Interesting.
Through different drafts. So I think my writing style, and a lot of people, every author has their own process.
Mm-hmm.
But my style was sort of, I got down like the main plot points first. So my first drafts were like very like this major emotional scene, this major emotional scene, these major things. And then I had to go in and fill in. So no, there was nothing major, like besides what I just mentioned, where I had like a couple options of ways I could go with it. There was no major plot point or scene or anything that didn't make it to the final copy.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, when you wrote Podium Perfect, you kind of wrote like this the female main character first. I just want to say I love the dynamic you wrote. The emotion bearing of seeing like the fears she had about getting hurt, and then like the what ifs of like losing her credibility and kind of going through that. But then having moments of kind of like holding her ground and inserting her expertise, like, I got this, not backing down. Especially in like a male dominated field, you don't see that as often as I wish you did get to see in real life. My question though is, was that intentional, or did the storyline kind of just line up that way naturally?
It was really intentional. I wanted her to really spend the course of the novel proving herself in that male dominated space. Like that was a huge part of it that I went into the story with. And so exactly how it came around in the conversation certainly evolved as I was writing. But I knew who she was and what she was going to do.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Oh, thank you.
I wish I could reread the book as the first time again. Did you write assuming though the reader kind of knew about F1 already, or did you intentionally kind of welcome new fans into that space as a learning curve as well?
Yeah, I definitely wanted non-fans to feel welcome, and that there wasn't anything too detailed that they wouldn't be able to, that it wasn't explained. So there are a few places in the book where I explain a few things where if you're a Formula One fan, you could probably skip over it. But I was really, I really wanted it to be accessible to non-fans. So I wanted a romance reader to be able to really enjoy it for the story and put the story first, and have Formula One as a fun, different backdrop than the type of romance that they were used to reading. And then at the same time, I really wanted to put in a few Easter eggs for the real diehard Formula One fans, so that they could get a chuckle or feel like they were seeing something that would have been completely over someone's head if they had never watched Formula One. So I really tried to keep those two different audiences in mind as I was writing.
I agree. I feel like as a new fan, that would be a very easy read to understand it, and probably even
Absolutely.
push people to want to watch F1.
Yeah. So I think, there's a little bit of explanation in there. Like, for example, when I mentioned like F1 Academy, I didn't want to assume that anybody knew what F1 Academy was. So like there's like one sentence that's like F1 Academy is a women's series. Just like little stuff so someone could follow. But then of course I assume that the real fans could just skip over that.
Mm-hmm. But now that you've written kind of your first book, is there a trope that you haven't written at that you're kind of dying to tackle in like future books?
Well, that's a great question. I on a totally so Podium Perfect, right, is this like big globe trotting, glamorous book. And I think it would be really fun after writing that to write something that's the setting's really different. So I kind of want to write a small town romance, which is like a whole
Ooh.
other genre. And it probably couldn't be Formula One
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense.
No.
But I think it would
You could.
be
It could, but it'd have to be like a retired racer.
retired racer who goes and moves to a small town or something. Yeah, there could be something there.
Yeah, like you could make it work if you tried.
But I think it would be a fun challenge then to be like, okay, I spent a lot of time dreaming up all these different cities around the globe and these beautiful different backdrops. How can I write something that's just as compelling, but where the setting is much smaller?
Mm-hmm.
And I love a small town romance. I love a
who
bakery
doesn't?
owner, who falls in love with her neighbor or something.
I feel like in just like small town romances, I always find myself navigating towards like that countryside, like cowboy type of small town romance.
I mean, those are like the easiest to find, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, always somehow being the East Coast girl, find myself with the things that are set in like New England.
Yeah.
And it always makes me laugh because then I'm too critical of them. So I tend to go for like the southern small town romances because I'm like, I will tear this to shreds if it's set in the New England and you get stuff wrong.
Okay, well, I'll have to send you. I have been toying with a really, really rough draft. My husband's from Boston, and my in-laws live in Vermont, in a small town.
Oh my God! Wait,
I have
where
been
in
toying
Vermont?
with writing a Vermont.
Oh my God!
Small town romance. You can be my critic before it goes out.
I have family in Vermont as well, so I love that.
My brother went to a military school in Vermont, and we used to go visit for every year.
It's so
for like
much
6
fun.
years.
I love Vermont.
It's so cold though.
It's
Yeah,
so, oh yeah.
Couldn't do the winters, but
no, their winters are rough. No, I had a question in my head and now I just lost it.
I distracted you with New England.
It's okay. No, okay, of your side characters, are any of the side characters like Cody in our review of the book, I for some reason had it in my head that Cody was kind of like Lando Norris coded. Can you please confirm or deny if I'm correct?
Yes. So Cody was like, yeah, definitely
a mix of a
Danny
few.
Lando, even like Logan Sargent.
I mean, hey, we love Logan Sargent on this podcast. I'm
Logan
so happy he has an IndyCar drive.
Yeah, he was not something I originally expected, but once you said his name, it like clicked that it made sense.
Yeah, just because he was like supposed to be a young American blonde guy. Yeah.
No, it definitely fits. Now, we're going to kind of get more into, I guess, the F1 talk of the episode, which is the fun stuff,
I'm ready for it.
I feel like this is the first question we have to ask. It's kind of obvious of a question to ask, but who's your favorite driver on the current grid?
Yeah. I think I have two. George Russell, which again, not everybody loves George, but I do. I love George. And Carlos. Everybody loves Carlos, though. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
Smooth
who
operator.
doesn't love Carlos? Who's not cheering for that guy?
I literally, I mean, if you don't like Carlos Sainz, I feel like there's a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
He's easy to love.
I waited a couple hours in Vegas to meet him, so I understand. he's great.
Was he just as lovely in person?
Yeah, I think he was really overwhelmed by the amount of fans, but I don't blame him. But yes, Rebecca's really nice as well. And she had
Aw.
a very distinct, like, Scottish accent, and I knew she was from there, but I was like not prepared
Yeah.
really for how distinct it was. I was like, oh,
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, because I know exactly what she looks like, but I haven't heard her voice many
See,
times.
I consume a lot of Rebecca's content because I adore her. And every time she speaks, I'm like, oh my god, your accent's so cute. But that actually kind of just reminded me of something I mentioned on the podcast, and I feel like you're gonna get a laugh out of this, Lexi.
Okay.
When I was reading Teddy as a character, because you made him Scottish, the only voice that I could hear in my head was David Coulthard. Because he's Scottish, and I'm like, it's the only voice that I can hear in my head.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest little connection to a past
That's really
driver,
funny.
but I was like, it's literally the only voice I can hear in my
Well,
brain right now.
Yeah. That's funny. I wanted him to be Scottish, but like he spent so much time and so much of his youth in other parts of the UK racing and karting that like it wasn't a super strong Scottish accent, but that he feel like real loyalty, and that's why his helmet has the tartan on it.
yeah.
And
That's so cute. I love
yeah.
that.
I know you mentioned what your favorite driver was, but do you have a favorite team?
Gosh, it really lines up with the drivers. Mercedes and Williams
Okay.
probably. Also, I'm rooting for Ferrari right now. I would love to see them have a moment. They deserve it, and I want Lewis to have a great season. I want Charles to have a great season.
I feel like the Ferrari era needs to come back. It's been a long
Yes.
time
Yeah.
coming.
Girl, we've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite race or track that is currently on the calendar?
Favorite,
It could be favorites, plural.
favorites. Yeah, I don't know that I have any particular favorite tracks. I know which races I want to go to. I'd really love to go to Mexico City. I think that one would be a blast. I'm also really interested in Abu Dhabi. Reason. I think partly because there is a woman named Alexandra who started a really cool business. It's called Off to the Races, and she organizes
Yeah.
these female focused
Yes.
trips where you can with a group of women and have this luxury experience at these races. And I've been following her for a while, and I've talked to her and we've worked together a little bit. And she plans these amazing trips, and I've watching her on her trips with her clients. The ones that like call to me right now are Abu Dhabi and Mexico City.
I also follow her and have been eyeing it, but it's so expensive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
If I sell a lot of books, I get to go on a
I'm
trip.
like,
with
I would love to do that in like the next year or so if I can afford it.
Yeah.
I think she does one
Now-
for Spain that I want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, she
Yes.
lives in Barcelona, so that one would also be
That makes sense.
probably a real expert on that one. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I low-key stalked you on your socials. I know you've been to Dakota before, but do you have any other races that you're planning to attend for the 2026 season?
Yeah, I will definitely go to Coda. So I live in Austin. So Coda is easy for me, and I've gone like probably 5 times now. Planning to go to realistically probably the other US or North America ones. So I'd love to get to Vegas this year. I also think that would just be a fun like spectacle to see. Hannah, did you go to Vegas this past year?
Yeah, I've been to Vegas the last 2 years.
Twice.
And then Miami as well. And then I'm like you, I live so close to Austin that I go to Coda every year.
Yeah, cool. Well, we should meet up next year at Coda.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, so realistically, it'd be fun to go to one of the
Yeah.
other North America races this year.
I really want to try to get myself to the Canadian Grand Prix just because I technically could drive to it if I really
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
Just because I think it'd be fun, but we'll see.
I think that would be a fun one too. Yeah.
It'd be cool. Now, we love talking like specialty helmets and liveries on this podcast. It's one of our favorite things to yap about. We have seen almost all. We still have a few that are coming out this month, but of the released 2026 liveries that we have, do you have one that's your favorite, that you like the look of, even if it's not necessarily like a team that you like? Has anybody dropped a livery that you're like, ooh, I really like the look of that one?
So I think the Audi one looks really sleek.
Mm-hmm.
Silver, well, clearly, like my team was silver. Silver and blue. So I think that one, I just like how chic and sleek it is. I like the kind of monochrome silver look. And I am very much excited to see what Cadillac debuts. And I think they're doing it like in a Super Bowl ad or at the Super Bowl halftime next week.
It'll be an ad during the Super Bowl, which honestly is, I said this before and I will say this a million times, it is the most American way for an American racing team to drop a livery. It's so iconic.
Everything about it.
I love it.
I think that it's so perfect to do it there. Yeah, like to really be like, hey, we're the American, we're gonna be the American team.
Yeah, Haas, they're coming for your title.
Sorry, Haas. Yeah.
Well, they can actually say they're American.
So I also am not a football person, but now I'm like, well, I'm obviously watching the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to do it for the Brits and everybody else in Europe and the UK to see it, because I'm like, okay, we're going to get to watch it as it's happening, as it's airing during the game, but I don't know how people in Europe and the UK.
Yeah, I guess they'll probably post it. I'm sure they'll
it'll probably go on their socials, but I'm like, that's interesting. That's not the same experience.
No. Versus watching it like live on YouTube or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm excited because they did show the suits, right? Like the race suits, didn't they have and the black? And I thought that looked cool. So I'm really curious to see what they do with the car.
I'm so intrigued. I love me a good livery. I like that, like they had to use more paint this year with the new regulations, so like we actually got some change in liveries.
Yeah. I'm not convinced about the Ferrari one yet. I don't know. They're like that much white and blue.
Yeah.
Random hot take. It kind of looks, remove the blue, it looks like a ketchup bottle. With like the white like sticker in the middle and then the red in the outside.
Yeah.
See, my thing is anytime I see like red, white, and blue, it's either going to give me really Americana vibes or like it's going to wind up leaning more like Colgate toothpaste branding.
Yeah.
Like it's there's really no in between sometimes, and I feel like, I don't know, I'm conflicted on the Ferrari livery. I actually like the Red Bull livery for once this year.
I like the blue
because they actually
something a little fun.
They actually gave me like some color, and the fact that it's not matte is just like really refreshing.
Yeah, I feel like this is an old style livery that they ran in the past that they've now brought back to fruition, but with a twist, and I like it. I say that as I'm wearing a Red Bull hoodie right now. Now, we can literally talk all day about liveries and everything because that's just what we love. But were there any hot takes on the sport in general? Could be a team, driver, or even a team principal?
Ooh. I'm gonna go back to Ferrari. My hot take is that it's gonna be a Charles or Lewis World Championship this year,
I wouldn't
which is a
complain.
pretty hot take.
Yeah,
I mean, I dig it. I have to
too.
follow up a little bit on Hannah's team principal comment. Thoughts on the rumors that Christian Horner is planning to come back to F1 via Alpine?
Ugh, say it ain't so. I already don't like Alpine, and if they bring on Christian Horner, I'm really done with them. That's how I feel about that guy.
Because I had a feeling you were going to have the exact same reaction that I did, which was, please no, make it stop.
We all
Yeah. Like, I want to see his face in the sport again, really.
Facts. Yes, I will sign that.
I hate even seeing him pop up on anyone, like any F1 like news thing. It's like, please get away.
Yeah.
Just go away. Go live your life with ginger spice. Right off into the sunset.
And never return. Thank you.
Please.
Never.
Please.
Goodbye.
Now, to kind of wrap up Formula One kind of topics, if Avery and Teddy were real friends or real fans, what team do you think they would support?
Williams.
Oh,
That
okay.
tracks.
Yeah.
So I think they would feel like the deep loyalty and like the family loyalty of the sport. And then I also think that they would be cheering for the underdog.
Yeah. I could
Yeah.
see that. Especially with Alex and Carlos.
Oh yeah, with Alex, Carlos, gotta go for those guys. I like James. He seems like a very nice guy.
Yeah.
I agree.
I am nervous for them this season though. With the
They have not had a great
testing.
start to the season with testing.
The testing stuff and the shakedown stuff, I'm nervous for them.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a little stressy for them, and I don't
Mhm.
like it.
And I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. I'm like, are you yanking people's chain? Is it really as bad as it sounds? Like,
No, especially in it's such like a good turnaround season last year. The momentum was great.
yeah. I mean, new regs do make everything a little interesting. I feel like this is exactly what happened when we entered into the previous regulations. Teams who like had decent potential, like all of a sudden were like, oop, nope, we didn't get that right.
Cost cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus that.
Such a big thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very excited to see what the 2026 season holds. Do you have any predictions for our first race of the year? Who do you think might potentially put it on podium?
Great question.
We love predictions for races, so I felt like it was only fair.
Okay. Fair enough. For the first race, gosh. I mean, I think McLaren's going to still be strong. I'm really hopeful for Mercedes and for Ferrari. So, let's go to keep things interesting. Let's call it a Charles first, George second, Lando third.
I like that lineup. We can end it there.
I do too. I kind of dig that. That's definitely one way to start a season.
It would be exciting.
Yeah.
It would be exciting. So
Australia always is a very interesting race.
Yeah.
And it always brings the first amount of real chaos we'll see. So
yeah.
Especially
with these new regulations, I think it's going to be like several races before we have any clue
who's actually got potential.
Who's actually going to be up there in the front, who the front runners are going to be. Because there's going to be so much development.
I'm just so excited. Oh, now obviously we have talked all things Podium Perfect. We've talked as much as we can of what we know so far of F1, but we have to circle back to you and what's next for you. Do we have any new books, events, anything like that. Give us as much insider tea as we can get.
Yes to all of the above. So I'm working on two projects right now. One is another love story in the Podium Perfect universe. So it's not a sequel, but Teddy and Avery will be in the background.
Yay.
It'll be a different.
Ooh.
And I won't say who it is yet, but so that I'm in the early drafting phases of that story. And then I'm also, speaking of our like New England, Vermont, we're in the early phases of drafting something that's totally not Formula One related.
Oh, that.
But the premise is it's a and there's a Vermont New England tie-in, but the premise is that it's a matchmaker in New York City. And she just happens to be a witch.
Oh.
So when her clients don't fall in love, she uses magic. So she, to make sure that her clients end up happy.
Up.
So like romantic.
Ma'am.
Love.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a little there, yeah, like magical realism, because it'll still feel like the real world.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to a whole different universe. Like it's modern day.
Oh, I love
New York
this.
City. And she lands her biggest client ever, who's like a very successful young businesswoman who just took her company public. And this is it. Like this could be the thing that takes her from being a matchmaker to being someone who could have like products and books and a TV show and all these big dreams she has. And then suddenly her magic stops working. So she has to deal with that. So that's the premise. So I have two different, really different things I'm working on, kind of depending on my mood. I flip back and forth between them.
Oh, I love that.
And that's what I'm doing while I'm writing. And then I have a couple events coming up here in Austin. There are a couple bookstores I'm working with. One is a romance-specific bookstore here in Austin called Finney's Books. And I am working with her. We're going to do a Formula One season kickoff event at her romance bookstore. So I'll be there signing, and then she'll kind of do a display of like a bunch of different Formula One romances, and we're working on getting some other local groups and creators involved. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
And then since Valentine's Day is coming up, I'm doing an event at another like kind of Valentine's Day event at another bookstore in Austin.
That makes me want to drive up to Austin now. It's only a 2-hour drive for me.
Join us.
I will definitely circle back with you on that. But okay, what is one long-term goal though that you're manifesting for yourself as a writer? I know you talked about all these things that you have planned for 2026 so far, but is there anything you're looking for in the future that you would like?
Yeah, so I want to kind of keep going and build a collection and build a library. So I'm an indie author. I published that myself. I didn't go through one of the big publishing houses. And so from everyone I've talked to who's pursued kind of the independent path, it really takes a few books to like build your business and build your following. And so I really am also looking to do that. And that's why the most important thing I can do right now is keep writing and keep building a library of work. So that's kind of my long-term goal, is to keep going and see what I can turn this into.
Well, we're here for the ride. I can tell you that. PGP is excited for the future.
Yes.
And to read all the books.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, your publishing debut, has it changed what you want from like yourself when it comes to like future books?
Yes, I've definitely keep moving the goalpost on myself. So when it was writing, it was just finish the book, and then it was publish the book. And now that the book is out, I'm like, okay, I really want people to read this book. And, it's less about like the sales or the money and more about I'm proud of it, and I think people will enjoy it, and I want people to read it. And then for books going forward, yeah, like I'm proud of what I wrote. And I think I can keep getting better as a writer. So I think that my future books will hopefully be even better.
We're manifesting
I'm
it.
definitely learning as I go.
Yes. As the witchy one
Amy's-
of the group, I will happily manifest whatever you need me to.
Amy's really good at
Awesome.
it, so she's your go-to person.
Great.
Which
Oh,
is
you're
technically-
gonna be on my speed dial.
Got you.
On my favorite on my phone.
Now, Lexi, for people who have not seen your work or heard of your books before, how can our listeners connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on Instagram. That's a great place to find me on social media. I'm actually starting a newsletter, so the first one's going to go out on Valentine's Day, and so I'm working on that now. That's another great way. You can go to my website, or there's links on my Instagram to find how to sign up for that. And that'll be like something that's maybe quarterly. Like I don't anticipate sending stuff out all the time, but it'll be a mix of book recommendations. So there'll definitely be a book or two in there each time that I've read and loved that I want to share. Share some work in progress. So this first one is going to have the first chapter of the next Formula One.
I'm so excited to get my
Installment.
hands on it.
Yeah.
The minute you
that'll
posted about a bonus chapter, I sprinted to the website.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so that'll be fun. I purposefully have made it so it doesn't say who the guy is in the first chapter, and then I'm going to be so curious to see who people think the male main character is. Because he's in it, but
guesses, I promise.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm really excited for that. And then, so yeah, it'll be a mix of a little bit of bonus chapters and preview work, and some book recommendations and a few, upcoming events, that kind of stuff. So hopefully it'll be a fun, quick read for everybody. So that'll be a great way to reach me. And then, yeah, I check my email and my DMs. So I think I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. And I love to connect with readers and hear what they think.
Now, okay, that is a wrap for our interview here with Lexi Richards, author of Podium Perfect. Lexi, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us a deeper look into your book. Your characters and your process is just amazing.
Well, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Hannah. This was a blast. I loved talking with you both, and hope we can meet up at some of these future races and keep in touch.
Definitely will.
We'll find you.
We'll be in touch.
All right, that's a wrap for our interview with Lexi Richards, author of Podium Perfect. Lexi, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us a deeper look into your book and your process. It was so much fun getting to talk with you, and we cannot wait to see what you have coming next. If you haven't already, make sure to check out Podium Perfect and follow Lexi on socials. You can find her at Lexi R Author, Lexir, as in red, author, AUTHOR. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share this episode with somebody you think will love it. Keep up with all things PGP by following us on socials at Paddock Girls Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next episode.